When last we saw the heroes of the valley on Cobra Kai, Daniel and Johnny had done the unthinkable and finally agreed to a team-up after decades worth of strife. Miyagi-Do and Eagle Fang Karate, Johnny's new dojo after being ousted from Cobra Kai, have no choice but to work together if they want to stand a chance against Kreese and the new dojo's worth of kids he's managed to manipulate. But a lot happened to lead up to this pivotal moment, friends. So let's take a look at the story so far of Cobra Kai.
Fittingly, Cobra Kai kicks off with Johnny Lawrence rather than Daniel LaRusso. The former Karate Kid foil is down on his luck, out of cash, and on another bender when he happens across Miguel Diaz and the bullies hell-bent on beating him up. A combination of begrudging sympathy for the kid and a lack of any other prospects inspires Johnny to reopen Cobra Kai to teach a new generation of fighters to strike first and strike hard. But it also means the former All-Valley Tournament runner-up has to use funds from his abusive stepfather to do so. Johnny's the sensitive sensei you'd expect him to be after being taught by the likes of Kreese. There'll be no weaknesses in the dojo, including asthma and peanut allergies, but his 80s sensibilities don't go uncontested for long. Daniel learns about Cobra Kai via his daughter's Bo, and he's not too thrilled to learn about the grand reopening. Of course, this suitor also happens to be one of the kids that was beating on Miguel. Daniel's self-righteous fury and Johnny's inability to climb out of the past present the overall theme of the series.
Get your house in order, LaRusso.
Who the hell you think you're talking to?
It's complicated. The fun thing about generational issues is that sometimes if we're not careful, they get passed down to your kids. You've already met Miguel, but let's talk about Robbie and Sam. While Miguel will act as Johnny's surrogate son throughout the series, Cobra Kai's sensei has a biological one too. Robbie's determined not to become his father, but years worth of baggage means the chip on his shoulder looks pretty similar to his dad's. Then there's Sam, Daniel's unassuming but fierce when pushed daughter, who grows back into her interest in karate as Season 1 climbs towards its finale. Like their parents before them, it's a love triangle that helps fuel the flames between the two feuding factions. Despite a couple of successful dates between Sam and Miguel, jealousy causes the Cobra Kai student to act rashly, ostracizing Sam and driving her closer to the complicated but wants to be better for her Robbie. Meanwhile, Johnny and Daniel continue to clash at every possible moment. The rift between the two only gets worse when Daniel discovers that Robbie, who he's given a job and a home to, is Johnny's son, and Johnny finds out his arch-nemesis is being a better dad than him. The series will start to poke fun at their war for the soul of the valley and the complete lack of communication between characters, but we won't get there until Season 2. Ultimately, the season is bookended by dojos. Miguel and Robbie will meet for a showdown at the 50th anniversary All-Valley Under-18 Karate Championship. Miguel represents Cobra Kai, while Robbie is unaffiliated and working to fix things with Daniel after the whole dad thing cropped up. When Robbie loses, Daniel takes him to Mr. Miyagi's old home. Upon reaching the house, Daniel reveals that he intends to start Miyagi-Do in an attempt to combat Cobra Kai and keep the kids safe. And yes, this is really about his ego. The growth for both Johnny and Daniel is slow going. For Johnny, things take a different turn. Despite the win he's always wanted, he believes he's lost his son for good and is none too pleased with Miguel's dark tactics to win the All-Valley. In his lowest moment of the first season, he's controlled by the last man he ever wanted to see. Kreese has returned, and he's ready to return to his dojo.
But the real story's only just begun.
Because we're all very smart, we all know that Kreese is only there to take Cobra Kai from Johnny. He is, after all, the founder of Cobra Kai, the no-mercy mentality, and the one who taught his students underhanded tricks like sweep the leg. The early twist of Season 2 is that Johnny knows that to be the case as well. Despite pleading from the war vet that he's only there to help his former student, Johnny has no intentions of trusting his former sensei. Right up until he decides to trust Kreese and give him full access to the Cobra Kai students. Sure, it's a masterstroke to fix the trophy he broke all those years ago, and it's on the pretense that Johnny's the sensei and the kids are only to take orders from him. But no one's ever accused Johnny Lawrence of being smart. Johnny does his best to highlight the difference between he and Kreese by chastising Miguel and Hawk for their methods at the All-Valley in Season 1 finale. Like Miguel, Hawk made the shift from bullied to bully at the end of Season 1. Unlike Miguel, Hawk remains that way for a while. Though the boys insist they were only doing what they were taught, the introduction of his former teacher helps push Johnny to realize that he should try to be better. Of course, the fact that the kid they beat up was his son probably played a part in his decision as well. The rift between Johnny and Daniel grows in Season 2 to become a rift between Cobra Kai and Miyagi-Do. Their sensei's hatred for one another sparks discourse between the kids as miscommunication becomes rampant and all-or-nothing mentalities become the norm. Season 2 spends more time with tertiary characters like Hawk, Dimitri, Aisha, and Tori, both to add dimension to the story and to highlight just how far Daniel and Johnny's toxic battle can spread throughout the school. Kreese's presence adds an extra layer of complexity to the narrative as well. Though his introduction may have pushed Johnny to realize that he was acting more like his former sensei than he would have liked, Kreese's manipulations start to result in factions within the dojo. Said manipulation is allowed to run rampant when Johnny is called away to San Bernardino to meet up with former Cobra Kai members Bobby, Tommy, and Jimmy for one last hurrah as Tommy nears the end of his battle with cancer. Nostalgia's on full display here, but what's more important is the episode's overall impact on the series. Bobby, Tommy, and Jimmy all can't believe that Johnny has returned to Cobra Kai and is working with Kreese once again, though he defends the former veteran, who has managed to trick him with lies of his valor and loss. And Johnny starts to realize that he's been duped. While Take a Right remains one of the best, most impactful of Cobra Kai, Season 2's penultimate episode, Pulpo, has some significance of its own. Continuing the trend of laughing at the ridiculous rivalry between two men who faced each other in a karate tournament 30 years ago, the episode sees Daniel's wife Amanda call Johnny and Carmen, Miguel's mother and Johnny's heartthrob throughout the series, over to join them for dinner when they run into each other at a restaurant.
Do you know each other? Oh, they have Warren karate dojos. I'll take a Cadillac margarita. Big glass.
The dinner is a revelation. Amanda and Carmen laugh at the boys' stupid feud while Johnny and Daniel discover that maybe they have more in common than they thought, and that the ladies might be right. When the ladies leave the two to their own devices, the two even start to discuss getting rid of Kreese. Unfortunately, fate didn't think it was time for these two to bury the hatchet just yet. Though the adults figured out how to adult for a brief window, the kids also remembered how to be dramatic high schoolers. A misguided mission from Kreese mid-season resulted in Mr. Miyagi's Medal of Honor getting stolen. Miguel felt guilty for his dojo's involvement and returned the medal to Daniel's house the moment he found out several episodes later. Thing is, it was Robbie who answered the door and took possession of the medal. While he didn't keep the medal for himself, he pretended that he simply found it, rather than reveal to Sam that her ex had done the right thing. When Sam finds out, she drunkenly kisses Miguel at a party, but things get broken up by the cops before Robbie learns about the kiss, and the two dojos duke it out. Robbie and the drunken Sam end up at Johnny's house to avoid Daniel, and all of his self-righteousness, from finding out his daughter drank at a party. But Daniel does find out, and any growth between the two senseis is out the window.
You need to do anything until you cool off.
Despite the knockdown drag-out between Daniel and Johnny, things don't truly explode until the day after. The long-awaited karate rumble between Cobra Kai and Miyagi-Do finally comes to a head when Tori outs Sam for kissing Miguel and then jumps her in the hall. Things continue to escalate, with the battle ultimately ending with Robbie accidentally knocking Miguel over a railing, resulting in Miguel falling 20 feet onto another railing spine first. Though the close of Season 2 leaves us thinking that Daniel and Johnny's attempt at teaming up has come to an end, it takes no time for the two to pair up again. Robbie's on the run after paralyzing Miguel, and they both know that he needs to turn himself in rather than get caught by the police if he wants any kind of future. Their mutual love for the kid doesn't keep them together long, unfortunately. They bicker and separate.
What's the matter with you? What, me?
Daniel ends up finding Robbie on his own with the cops in tow, and he blames Daniel for his incarceration. The perceived slight, coupled with Johnny missing visitation with him to check on Miguel, will ultimately drive Robbie into Kreese's schemes. That is, after he gets out of juvie and ends his relationship with Sam.
You two deserve each other.
While Robbie deals with his own drama, the rest of Miyagi-Do, now featuring several Cobra Kai defectors, works to raise funds for Miguel's surgery. Though Cobra Kai ends up stealing the funds, it's ultimately Johnny who finds the needed money after swallowing his pride and visiting the aforementioned abusive stepfather, Sid. The jerk declines, of course, but Johnny ends up stealing an expensive vase from the house for his troubles. Rehabilitation will play a major role in this chapter, for better and for worse. Robbie goes back to the dark side while Miguel's brush with death and literal physical rehabilitation brings him back from the brink. While the boys deal with their respective struggles, Sam has her own demons to contend with as she battles with PTSD from the fight. Though Robbie's story only sees him falling further and further from the light, Miguel does eventually find his footing again, and Sam ultimately overcomes her fears and returns to the fold. Similar to Johnny's detour to San Bernardino in Season 2, Daniel finds himself on a trip to Okinawa in an attempt to save his dealership with a plea to Diona, one of their primary manufacturers. He's unable to seal the deal on his own, but Kumiko, Daniel's old flame from Karate Kid 2, is able to save the day via her own connections, but not before she leaves Daniel with his old rival Chosen.
Daniel-san.
Chosen.
Their reunion, while funny, ultimately serves as an additional reminder that these old feuds serve no one. Amanda finds herself with much more to do this season. After things evolved from a stupid rivalry to kids actually landing in the hospital, she confronts Kreese on her own, slaps him right in the mouth as a matter of fact. The magical moment is short-lived though. When it's decided that the All-Valley Karate Tournament can no longer go on, given its effects on the kids' lives, Daniel, Amanda, Johnny, and Kreese all arrive to contest the decision. When Amanda speaks out against Kreese's villainy, he has her easily removed by playing the I was a veteran card. It's the kids who save the All-Valley though. While the adults snipe at one another,
This man is a thief and a liar.
And he put a live Cobra in my dealership.
Enough!
Sam and Miguel give an impassioned plea to restore the tournament so they have an outlet for their frustrations, and they save the day. The two would use this power for good again later on when they get Miyagi-Do and Johnny's new dojo, Eagle Fang, to agree to join forces against Kreese and the Cobra Kai. It's not just Sam and Miguel that managed to bring the dojos together though. Remember Allie and the love triangle that started it all in Karate Kid? She's in the valley visiting her mother, recently divorced, and wants to connect with old friends. Though Johnny and Carmen have patched things up after the brawl nearly killed her son, Johnny agrees to see his old flame. The day goes great, and the two almost kiss, but she has a fancy party she has to attend for her mother. Though the rendezvous continues at the party later, everything has a different vibe now that both parties have had a chance to think. Daniel and Amanda being present plays an important part too, but not in a wet blanket sort of way. In fact, Amanda and Allie roasting the boys for being stuck in the past seems to be the final trick to get them to realize that they are dumb, and maybe it is time to move on.
This is the best story I have ever heard. Please keep going.
Oh, should we talk about what a bad boyfriend you were?
Yes, definitely. Some shrapnel to that side of the table, please.
When Johnny and Allie say their goodbyes, it's as friends. The same can be said for when Daniel and Johnny meet up again, this time as allies against Kreese and whoever else he brings into the fold. The Season 3 finale hints that Kreese is calling upon Karate 3 bad guy Terry Silver, check out that ponytail, to help him go up against our heroes. And while Johnny and Daniel will undoubtedly continue to bicker as the series continues, it seems their portion of the long-running feud between Cobra Kai and Miyagi-Do has finally come to an end. And that pretty much sums up what you need to know about Cobra Kai heading into Season 4. For more on the show, be sure to check out our Season 3 Ending Explained, and as always, be sure to like and subscribe to IGN wherever you like to watch.